two astronauts are shown holding a press conference before their launch into space. They are Xingye Gu and Fei Ma. When reporters try to interview their families, none of Fei Ma's family members attend the event. Fei Ma then remembers his childhood when he was still with his family. At that time, he was singing with his friends to welcome the Asian Games participants and torchbearers. During the event, Haowen Ma, an architect who built the Dongpai Bridge, serves as the 287th torchbearer. The Dongpai Bridge was a source of pride for the Chinese people at the time. Before running with the torch across the Dongpai Bridge, Haowen Ma gives Fei Ma a globe as a gift and carries him while running across the bridge. However, disaster soon strikes. Without any clear reason, the Dongpai Bridge collapses. As a result, the court finds Haowen Ma guilty of negligence in the bridge's construction and sentences him to 7 years in prison. A year later, Fei Ma and his mother visit Haowen Ma in prison. When they arrive, Fei Ma's mother gives Haowen Ma divorce papers. She does this because she does not want Fei Ma to become like his father. Before they part, Haowen Ma gives Fei Ma advice. As long as you are willing to work hard and think, you can find anything on this earth. Years pass. Haowen Ma's life in prison is miserable. He often suffers mistreatment from other inmates, but his spirit never fades. He writes about his experiences in a book. Fei Ma experiences similar hardships. His friends often bully him and see him as useless. They even destroy the globe his father gave him. One day, Fei Ma sees his mother with another man. It turns out that this man is her future husband, a wealthy businessman. The man says that he will take Fei Ma and his mother to a comfortable place and enroll Fei Ma in a prestigious school. In 1997, Haowen Ma is released from prison and returns home. Unfortunately, the people in his neighborhood still hate him and drive him away. Haowen Ma then visits his ex-wife's house, hoping to see Fei Ma. However, Fei Ma is not there. He now lives in a dormitory and studies at Boyu High School, one of the top schools in China. Not long after, Fei Ma's stepfather receives a call from Mr. Yan, the principal of Boyu High School, informing him that Fei Ma will be expelled due to his lack of discipline and frequent rule-breaking. Hearing this, the three of them rush to Boyu High School to meet Mr. Yan. When they arrive, Mr. Yan is leading a school assembly. He scolds Fei Ma for being lazy and skipping classes. Fei Ma's parents enter the principal's office and plead with Mr. Yan not to expel him. However, Mr. Yan says that students with poor grades can damage the school's reputation. Meanwhile, Haowen Ma notices that one of the photos of outstanding students is missing. As Fei Ma's mother continues to beg Mr. Yan, Haowen Ma interrupts and says that Mr. Yan's decision does not reflect that of a true educator. He criticizes the school system for only accommodating high-achieving students while discarding those who struggle without offering help. Outside the office, Haowen Ma challenges Mr. Yan by declaring that he will personally tutor Fei Ma until the exams. He also promises that Fei Ma will rank in the top 10. Mr. Yan dismisses his claim but accepts the challenge. Afterward, Haowen Ma takes Fei Ma home, but Fei Ma is still disappointed because his father never contacted him while in prison. The next morning, Haowen Ma takes Fei Ma to a job fair, as he has no job or place to live after being released from prison. He applies for many jobs but keeps getting rejected. At one point, they meet a man who once applied for a job under Haowen Ma. Initially, the man greets him warmly and praises him. However, he suddenly turns hostile and insults Haowen Ma in front of everyone. It turns out the man holds a grudge because Haowen Ma once rejected his job application. The following day, they continue searching for work. In another place, they meet the same man again. This time, he is struggling and angrily scolding his subordinates. Using his construction expertise, Haowen Ma offers to help in exchange for money, promising to complete the task in 2 minutes. At first, people doubt and mock him, but he is given a chance. True to his word, Haowen Ma successfully completes the job within 2 minutes. That makes the man who insulted Haowen Ma the other day feel ashamed and lose face. Thanks to his success, Haowen Ma is invited to collaborate. Next, Haowen Ma meets his old friend, Datu Lu. Datu Lu is struggling to design a building and asks Haowen Ma for help in exchange for money. Additionally, Datu Lu provides a place for Haowen Ma and Fei Ma to stay. At night, Fei Ma confides in his father that ranking in the top 10 is impossible for him. However, he does not want to disappoint his father. His father says that it was just a bluff. He only wants Fei Ma to work harder. Fei Ma then tells him that his mother insists he must get into a top university, and if he fails, she will make him sell pancakes. However, Haowen Ma disagrees. He believes that a top university is just one path to success, but the most important things are hard work, thinking, and perseverance. Then, Haowen Ma measures the stack of Fei Ma's textbooks, which is 11 centimeters high. He says, if you study 0.5 centimeters per day consistently, you can master everything easily because, in reality, you are a genius. Motivated by his father's words, Fei Ma becomes diligent in studying and moves up 5 ranks. Moreover, his father teaches him using contextual learning methods, making the lessons more practical and relevant. On the other hand, Haowen Ma's savings are running low while their expenses keep increasing. Additionally, Fei Ma wants a PC 586. To earn extra money, Haowen Ma works harder by donating blood, screen printing, selling watches, and doing other side jobs. Thanks to his efforts, he manages to buy the PC 586 for Fei Ma. Fei Ma is overjoyed and immediately starts playing with it. Not long after, Fei Ma's homeroom teacher, Ms. Gao, visits their home to meet Haowen Ma. She tells him that Fei Ma has not submitted his homework for several days. He also rarely studies and prefers playing on the computer. Haowen Ma explains that overloading children with long study hours can make them feel pressured and bored. Ms. Gao understands why Fei Ma has not been submitting his homework. At school, Mr. Yan asks about Fei Ma's academic progress. Ms. Gao reports that he has improved and moved up 5 ranks. However, Mr. Yan still underestimates him. The next morning, Haowen Ma takes Fei Ma to school. On the way, he stops at a park to teach him how to write poetry. At the park, they encounter a group of thugs. Haowen Ma tells Fei Ma to run to school while he stays behind to deal with them. When Fei Ma arrives at school, he is already late, and Mr. Yan is waiting for him in the classroom. As a result, Fei Ma gets punished, and his model airplane is destroyed. Not satisfied with just punishing Fei Ma, the school also punishes Ms. Gao, who always supports him. Her status as a permanent teacher is suspended for 3 years. At home, Fei Ma tells his father that Ms. Gao is punished because of him. His father turns to him with a bruised face from his fight with the thugs that morning. The next morning, Haowen Ma wakes up late, but Fei Ma intentionally does not wake him up. Instead, he leaves a note. "Dad, I'll be like you. Never back down." Later, Haowen Ma meets Detective Dong at the police station. He wants to clarify his case because he believes his construction design is correct, but there is corruption in its execution. Detective Dong refuses to give a clear answer, making Haowen Ma angry. After leaving the police station, Fei Ma tells his father about an upcoming air show. Still upset, Haowen Ma scolds Fei Ma, making him disappointed again. Realizing his mistake, Haowen Ma apologizes and even meets Ms. Gao to ask for permission to take Fei Ma to the air show. Ms. Gao refuses because the exam is approaching. Shortly after, Mr. Yan arrives and announces a new decision. Miss Gao is no longer Fei Ma's homeroom teacher. All students must stay in the dormitory until the exam is over, and outsiders are prohibited from entering the school. At night, Fei Ma stays in the dormitory with his friends. The next morning, he is no longer in his room. It turns out that he escapes with his father's help to go to the air show. Unfortunately, the tickets are sold out, so Haowen Ma takes Fei Ma to a hill so they can see the planes clearly. On their way home, they take a bus. At a rest area, Fei Ma gets off to fetch hot water. However, because another bus has the same livery, he mistakenly boards the wrong one. They search for each other, and things get worse when heavy rain causes a flood. Fei Ma takes shelter in a building, but the water level keeps rising. Haowen Ma calls out to him with a megaphone and says, "Use your brain to survive." Fei Ma looks for materials to make a flotation device and finds a flashlight. Just when Haowen Ma starts to lose hope, Fei Ma suddenly appears with his homemade flotation device and successfully escapes. A few days later, the exam takes place. When the results are announced, Fei Ma's name is not in the top 10, but in 64th place. Mr. Yan then demands Haowen Ma to fulfill his promise. Ms. Gao enters Mr. Yan's office to check Fei Ma's answer sheet and finds something suspicious. Fei Ma gets a score of 0. She hands the answer sheet to Haowen Ma. After discovering this, Haowen Ma immediately goes to Mr. Yan to protest. Mr. Yan, along with the school board, finally allows Fei Ma to read his essay. The essay talks about his dream of becoming an astronaut. But it fails because his father goes to prison. The teachers give their assessments, and Fei Ma gets a perfect score. Shortly after, they all go outside because the students celebrate after the exam. The students tear up their books and throw them from the rooftop, shocking the teachers. Haowen Ma then says, "This is the school's celebration, but do we ever wonder why they enthusiastically tear up and throw their books after the exam? Isn't studying something they should continue doing for their future?" Mr. Yan replies, "Their future will be much better than yours." Not long after, a madman enters the school, joining the celebration. Haowen Ma asks, "Who is that madman? And whose missing photo is on the wall?" He then reveals a secret. The madman is actually Mr. Yan's adopted son. He is once a top student and an Asian Games torchbearer. However, one day he fails at something, and Mr. Yan becomes disappointed and ignores him. The boy attempts suicide but fails. However, he loses his memory and eventually goes insane, and Mr. Yan lets him be. Haowen Ma also says, "I respect you as a teacher and a father, but when it comes to our children, education is our responsibility as parents." Hearing this, Mr. Yan cries and feels guilty toward his son. A few years later, Mr. Yan acknowledges Fei Ma as the best student in the school and asks him not to transfer to aviation school. He also plans to display Fei Ma's photo in his office. However, Fei Ma still chooses to chase his dream. He successfully enters aviation school and continues to astronaut training. Meanwhile, Haowen Ma marries Ms. Gao. One day, while eating at a food stall, Haowen Ma overhears a conversation about the Dongpei Bridge. It turns out that the mastermind behind its collapse is Dato Lu. He conspires with the workers to bring the bridge down. Haowen Ma, who finds out about this, becomes very angry and beats Dato Lu badly. As a result, Haowen Ma goes to prison again for 15 days. After being released, Haowen Ma tells Fei Ma that his case has finally reached a turning point. Dato Lu has been arrested. Fei Ma suggests that his father forgive him and close the case. Hearing this, his father is disappointed and says he does not want to see him again. Not long after, Fei Ma realizes and prepares for liftoff to the space station. During the mission, their spacecraft loses communication. For days, they drift in space, uncertain of their fate. Fei Ma wants to repair the ship's antenna, but his commander forbids it. Eventually, he finds a message he once wrote for his father. "I'll be like you. Never back down." With that spirit, he fixes the communication antenna despite his commander's orders. With great effort and risking his life, Fei Ma finally repairs it and restores communication with Earth. He and his crew return safely. For his bravery, Fei Ma receives various awards, and his father's case is finally closed, with his name fully restored.